If the GOP loses in 2024, they're done. I don't want to make a claim quite that sweeping, but I really do feel like 2024 is their last option. Whether they do it like violently, like January 6th, but winning, or whether they do it, through electoral means. Trump can't run in 2028 if he loses again. He is too old. And the Republican Party can't match his energy with anyone else. Not even close. It's too much of a cult of personality. I really feel like this is their last chance. And keep in mind, animals get desperate when they're backed into a corner, okay? We need to be prepared for what might actually be the most protracted and violent disinformation campaign in American electoral history. Twitter is going to be weaponized by Elon Musk for the explicit purpose of laundering conspiracies and lies from the Republican Party and promoting them to the widest possible audience. Every single lie they come up with, he will personally signal boost and defend publicly. And that's just Twitter. Like, this will happen on every single level, because a lot of them know this is their last shot. We must win.
And that's why I will never applaud and cheer when we get these birth announcements from gay couples, because I'm more concerned.
Like Dave Rubin, like when they attacked Dave Rubin because he and his husband adopted a kid. They don't really seem eliminationist about black people like they are with queer people. Yeah, that is true. The mainline conservative attitude towards queer people is eliminationist. The radical fringe of the right also is eliminationist about non-white people, but they are absolutely not the forefront. And the reason for that, I think, is because they recognize the fact that while they have been able to pull a kind of rhetorical hat trick with queer people, an openly white supremacist, white nationalist Republican Party would lose an ungodly number of voters. There is just no way for them at this moment to go up there on stage and say the kinds of stuff they say about queer people about black people without immediately tanking. They're just not there. Maybe one day they will be. But the God's honest truth is that America is pretty multicultural, and your average Republican voter might be latently racist, but they're definitely not an active ideological racist. The median Republican voter might think trans people are grooming children, and even that is a maybe, because the anti-trans rhetoric has not been winning them over as well as Republicans thought it would. But the median Republican voter definitely does not think, like ideologically in their head, that America should be an only white nation. They might think, I don't know, the downtown area they used to like has been full of thugs lately or something, or they might think that like rap and hip hop is like, I don't know, barely even music, whatever. They probably hold a lot of opinions that are racist, but I don't think they're ideologically racist. They're not aware of their racism and committed to it on principle. Does that make sense? Whereas I think a greater proportion of Republicans are willing to go that far when it comes to like anti-trans stuff, where they will just say, yes, I think that being trans is mental illness, and yes, I think they shouldn't be allowed to groom kids or whatever. Like, they'll just say that, But yeah, there are plenty of bourgeoisie. I hate them. I hate them. I hate them. I hate them. So many times we've heard that phrase. What is it? Scratch a liberal and a fascist bleeds. And it's overly simplistic. I guess maybe scratch a capitalist and a fascist bleeds, or perceive scratch a capitalist and a fascist bleeds, or perhaps show a video of a capitalist being scratched conceptually and teach the capitalist that by turning towards fascism, they could potentially increase their profit margin by working with the authoritarians in the state to subsidize their security costs and regulate online retailers, therefore protecting them as the economy shifts by allowing cops to protect them rather than hiring private security firms. Bleeds? I don't know. Yes, I gotta say. Not on the ball on that one. Vaush, a bunch of eugenics advocates did want to make abortion more legal so black populations would be held in check, but that was evangelical whites, not Jews. Also, literally everything in society 100 years ago was done by eugenicist evangelical white people. Like that, like every social institution that could be tied back to like any point in American history at some point was designed and founded by somebody who hated black people. That, that's like holistic, you know what I mean? Like, did you know this medical practice / institution that goes back 120 years was created by eugenicists? Everyone was a eugenicist back then. That's not surprising. But anyway, it gets blown out and misinterpreted, and then they treat it like that. Like, even if that was the case back then, that then means that the current motivations for legalizing abortion are to cull the black population. Yeah. This is what I say, and I've said it many times before. A ton of the people who think that life begins at conception don't actually believe that. They don't. If they were in a burning building and they could only take one, and one of them was a fully living human baby that's like 2 years old, and there was a petri dish that they knew had been fertilized in vitro with an egg like 2 days ago, the idea that every single conservative who believes that life begins at conception would take that as a 50-50 and would just like 50-50 that, I bet you 99% of conservatives who believe that would run with the baby. And you can say, oh, well, that's just because they're inconsistent doesn't mean that they don't believe it. I say it does. I say that, actually. Yeah, I do. You can't know what they believe. You can only accuse them of inconsistently applying their belief. No, I do know. Actually, I do know. I know exactly what they believe. The trains running on time thing is a myth. Yeah, total bullshit, by the way, you know? Like, everyone always does that. It's like, oh, Mussolini was bad, but he made the trains run on time. No, he didn't. The train systems were already in place in Italy, and if anything, they got worse over time, thanks to his incompetence of running the government. Oh, you know, Germany was bad, but, you know, hey, at least he brought the economy back in line. No, he didn't. The entire world at that point had largely recovered from the worst of the Great Depression, and he instigated a war economy. And the material conditions for, like, the average German throughout that time got worse as the war progressed. It didn't, like, he presided over the bounce back from the Great Depression. Other countries did it, you know? Didn't he make this promise before? Yes. The entire Republic, as soon as Obama passed Obamacare, the entire GOP was talking about how they were going to repeal it the first chance they got. And for like over a decade now, the GOP has been like, yeah, once we repeal Obamacare, and they never made an alternative plan. Not once. Donald Trump didn't. The GOP didn't. They just don't want you to have healthcare. Like, the GOP healthcare is just, you pay whatever you're asked to, and that's it. There's no plan. They haven't even tried. They haven't even like pretended to have a plan.